This is my demo for milestone 1 for GAM576. Start up the engine here, and let me open up some of the files that I can show what I did. So a lot of it is brought over from the previous quarter's final demo with the Teddy and humanoid skeletons and the animations. So what I added was the 3D models, the sprites, and the fonts. I improved the camera system so that it has a 3D camera and a 2D camera, both running when needed. So here in load content, I'll add a 3D camera. I'll add a couple of locations for the 3D camera, and then I add the 2D orthographic camera as well. I load up all the textures, including the font texture. The glyph manager, I have to load up all of the data from the XML and to get it from the corresponding texture. Scene manager from the previous quarter loads up the skeletons. And then here I have models that I load up and add to the model manager, shader objects. Here I'll add the two models, the 3D models. Here I have an image object that I create to get a sprite of an alien, and then I load it up here. Graphics object, font, here's where I do the fonts. So here I use that to create a static string. Here I'll create a dynamically updating string, and I'll set the name to dynamic font, which I'll update using a counter right over here. I'll update the two different cameras, and everything else is the same. And then just going into some of the other things that I added, I use GameObjectRigid to do the 3D models. Everything is pretty similar. GameObject2D is what I added, has scale, position, angle, updates using the 2D camera with the graphics object sprite. It updates using the 2D camera. So yeah, and then GameObjectFont is similar. It's very similar to the sprite. It allows the draw step just pretty much uses the message parameter and updates and renders each character one by one, moving the position so it appears as a whole word, even though it's just really quickly updating a single graphics object font, which I have over here. Here it'll take a glyph, update using the 2D camera. I can have the swap method, which essentially lets me swap out one position for another for each glyph's information. And then I also have glyph manager, and then these three files which allow for the conversion. So here in glyph manager, I use these files to parse the XML document, load up the information, add it to the glyph manager, and reference it later. And a lot of the other stuff is the same. Okay, I have 2 minutes left, so I'll just run this. So here I have the two skeletons with their animations. I have two 3D models. I have a sprite. I have a static string font and a dynamically updating one. I can move the camera around with the arrows. The red indicates an active skeleton. I can switch active skeleton by pressing S. I can switch cameras by pressing 1 or 2. And you can see the 2D objects stay in the same position. I can cycle through the animations by pressing C. I can speed it up with the period or comma keys. I can reverse with R. I can toggle bounding spheres with B. Everything still works. I can cycle animation, switch back to the other one, cycle, toggle. And yeah, so everything still works the same. Everything shows up together. And right now it's going in reverse. So yeah, this is my demo right now, and I'm looking forward to building this out a little bit more. Oh, I don't know if I said, but I can pause using the space bar too. And yeah, so it works pretty well. Just exiting out here really quickly. You can see memory tracking passes, so there's no memory leaks, which is good. I have managers that manage everything. So yeah, that's my demo.